Right, good morning. This is Graham Norris. Today is the 28th of August, 2024. And today I thought I'd go over a brief list of what we're looking for when it comes to large multifamilies. The first thing is that we like is a C-class building in a B-class location. So in other words, it's in a desirable area. The schools are ranking up there, where young families would like to live. It's in a good area, a desirable area where their houses are generally at medium or above. It's got a nice neighborhood. Things are convenient. It's in a good location. That's the B class. And the C class building, there is some signs of distress. So we like occupancy, certainly above 70%, and ideally in the range from 70% all the way up to, we consider all the way up to 90%, ideally 85%. The reason for that is that we like vacant units where we can renovate those vacant units, bring them up to market conditions so we can get the fair market rate for those apartments. The other main thing that we look for is rents are clearly below fair market value and maybe have been like that for some time. So the scope to raise rents over the stabilization period. Stabilization period is anywhere from 9 months all the way up to 18 months. We'd want to be stabilized by the 18-month mark. We like to start our distributions anywhere from 9 months in all the way up to, let's say, a year and a half before we start making distributions. And they are cumulative. So investors are not missing out by not getting the distributions earlier. The other thing that we like to look at is the expenses. We like to see if there's anything that seems on the expensive side where we can reduce costs and expenses that way. And we look for efficiency. We look at the staffing, the management fees, any contracts are in place, like, for instance, cable, TV or internet, anything like that. We look at those. We look at the landscaping, all those sort of things, see if we can do things more economically. We look at the management, of course, and see what sort of reviews management are getting, see if we can improve there. We may want to make some changes, especially if the occupancy is not very high. We'll also look for opportunities to add value. So maybe there isn't a coin laundry. We may consider adding that, making it convenient with all the modern technology, with cell phones, the apps. We also might add in like reserve parking or cover parking, storage, valet services, anything that would make the life for the tenant more convenient and enjoyable. We'll look at amenities like kids' playground, swimming pool, things like that. We'll also look at, for instance, the pet policy. Lots of apartment complexes just charge a pet deposit. Well, we might look at a monthly rent for pets. So we'll look at all the fees and see what we can add in there that would make sense. we might look at the signage and the reputation the apartment complex has online. So if it has a poor reputation, what we'll do is we'll relaunch it, rename it, and put new signage up, and start a new Google presence, and Facebook, and do all the social media that supports the relaunch. Oh yes, we look for cap rates at or above the current market when we buy it, and we'll work out the price per door, and we look for the age of the property. We don't like it much older than 1970, because there tends to be some fundamental things wrong. It's 50 years or more, especially plumbing issues. We'll look at when things have been last renovated and updated, especially things like the plumbing. We'll obviously do our due diligence. We don't take the figures from the seller as gospel. We'll look at economic vacancies as well as declared vacancies. An economic vacancy is where tenants have not been paid the rent. So we would like to see the rent roll unit by unit and see what we can determine with any patterns of behavior from certain tenants, whether they need to be evicted or not. So that'll bear in a factor of how we determine what the final offer price will be. This is after walking each and every unit. We walk every unit, despite even if there's 700 units, we'll walk every unit and make sure that there are no surprises. And that's generally it. Apart from the markets themselves, we do prefer large multi-families in the red states, where it's easier to do business as a landlord, and so we want markets that have a good property management reputation. So a market where there are plentiful large multi-families. So the markets that we're currently looking at is predominantly the southeast of the United States. We'll also look at Phoenix, that area. That's a good area. So those are some of the markets that we're looking at. We do like Oklahoma as well. So there are some exceptions. So if you find a good deal or think it's a good deal, then certainly let us know. Generally speaking, large multifamilies are currently being advertised online on Craigslist or LoopNet. I've already been well looked after. There's often a what they call a whisper price. So this is a price that they'll consider. Maybe it's been on the market a long time and is clearly overpriced. So price is important. We do our own underwriting, and we'll make an offer the way our numbers work out and what it will be a good investment for our investors. So the underwriting process is diligent and deep and very carefully done. It's a craft, and it's a science that we work all the numbers in and do and check everything. So if you have any questions on any of that, do feel free to put in some comments below or book an appointment with me. I'm on calendly.com/Graham Norris. You can book an appointment, and I'll be delighted to answer your questions. Well, thank you for listening today, and do watch my previous videos on various topics. Like yesterday, I did the accredited and non-accredited investors, and put in your comments. Subscribe and like this video, and we'll talk to you soon.